Hey, welcome to Kate Crafts. I'm Kate. Today I would like to share with you a simple embossed card. Let's get started. So to kick things off, here are some of the supplies I will be using in today's card. If you need to pause the video to write down the Prisma-colored numbers, go right ahead, or you can check the description box below for everything that I'm using. So to start the card, we are going to take the Spellbinders Simply Perfect Florets embossing folder, and we are going to cut a panel of 4¼ by 5½, and we are going to emboss this. And I love this embossing folder. I don't know what it is about the floral of this. And I'm not a huge floral person, but there was something about this embossing folder that I absolutely love it. I think it's very sweet and I like the pattern of the flowers. And I've done this before in alcohol marker for Mother's Day cards, I believe last year. And I wanted something simple to do on the day that I made this, and I was kind of looking at something relaxing, and I thought, what's more relaxing than busting out a few colored pencils or pencil crayons, depending on what you call them, and just sitting down and coloring. Now, I've sped this up quite a bit because I did take a lot of time on this card, and I wanted to make sure that I was going in with a very light hand because this is embossed, and I didn't want to push down any of the embossed areas with the colored pencil. So very lightly am I going over these with pencils. Now, I did sharpen some of these so I'd have more of a blunt edge, and then I kind of scribbled them out a little bit, if you know what I mean. That way I had a flat blunt edge to work with. Does that make sense? Let me know in the comments if you know what I'm talking about. I don't know how to explain it. I know when I'm coloring, using a fine point is kind of hard to color with for me. So if I've sharpened them to give them more lead, or in this case, the colored pencil, I like to off to the side on a scratch piece of paper, scribble a little bit so I get that flat worn edge off to the angle so I could shade a little bit better. Maybe that makes more sense. I don't know. Do you do that? Or do you just go in with a very sharp pencil and color? I find that if I have a flat, blunt edge like this after sharpening it and scribbling it, I get a better blend. But don't take my word for any of this because I am not a colored pencil guru. I know there are plenty of people out there that like to do work in colored pencil, and I'm not as versed. In fact, I think the last time I had any formal education on colored pencils was in high school. And yeah, I'm not even gonna divulge how long ago that was. That was quite some time ago. So anyway, I'm just going in with two tones of color, a light and a dark. I didn't want to pull in a medium because some of these spaces are very small, and it wasn't something that I thought was necessary. I'm just, light hand, just going with a light hand and just kind of giving some dark spots and some light spots, and that's basically all I'm doing for the duration of this card is just coloring. And then, eventually we do get to the little sentiment, which was I was hard pressed to pick on. Like I wasn't too sure when I was mapping this card out in my head what kind of sentiment I was going to add to it, but I thought with the colored pencil and how sweet the flowers were that it would just be one of those cards you pass off as grateful. And that's what the sentiment I ended up going in. And you'll see that in a little bit. So I think we're in a bit of a home stretch here, the last of the coloring. I think I've got one more color to go in with, and I don't know, I thought these were very spring colors that I chose for this one, and it was kind of hard to pick because I never know what to pick for flowers because there's so many flowers, and with a lot of the warm weather we've been having here, where I'm at on the map, my dwarf daffodils have popped up. They haven't bloomed, but they're popping up, as well as my white irises. And my white irises is kind of taken over the flower bed, and I really need to go in there and weed them out, but come fall, it's kind of like I'm over gardening by then because I've spent all summer tending to my vegetable garden that I kind of look past my flower garden. And my flower garden has white irises and dwarf daffodils. I think there's some purple alliums. There was a purple hyacinth that I had that Mr. Crafts got me many years ago, but I think the dwarf lilies and the irises kind of took over that area and they never really came back after a couple of years, which is sad, but it is what it is. And I think I've got some, I don't know if I got tulips, I can't remember. They all come up in the spring and then some in the summer. I think my alliums come up closer this summer, but don't mark my words on it. They're really pretty. If I can remember, I will take a picture and share them on my social media when they start to bloom. And yeah, that way you can see them. Speaking of social media, have you gone over to Facebook and Instagram to check out my pages? Are you on Facebook and Instagram? Have you subscribed yet to this channel? Inquiring minds want to know. Give me a comment down below if you are a subscriber and where you're subscribing from, and if you like to color in colored pencil. I don't get to do it that often. It's not my favorite medium because, as you can tell by this video, we are already 6.5 minutes in and I am still coloring and probably boring the pants off of you because this isn't as exciting as putting together other types of cards. Oh look, we're done! So I didn't have a matching cardstock, so I'm going to make a matching cardstock, and I am going in with some Lawn Fawn apricot or apricot, however you want to say it. I say it both ways, but we're going in with some apricot ink and just kind of giving ourselves a matchy-matchy colored cardstock to mount our embossed panel onto. So yeah. I'm just going back and forth. I'm kind of heavy-handed, kind of not. I want to make sure that I get a decent saturation with this one. That way it makes the other colors pop. And I do really like how, like almost like a soft peach this apricot is. And I thought it looked really nice with the light peach and the regular peach Prisma colors that I chose for this card. So once I'm all done that, I'm just going to take the ink pad and just go around the edges just to tie the edges in so you don't see the white cardstock. And off camera, I have stamped out Grateful for You in the same colored ink, and again, I've gone around the edges in the same colored ink as I did the panel that we ink blended on, and put some foam strips, and we are going to double stick this with a little bit of glue in case I have a mishap and need to pick it back up. So we're going to take our T-square ruler here, try to line everything up the best that we possibly can, and then once we have that lined up where we want it, we are going to plop that sentiment down in the center, give it a good mash down, and then once that's done, we are able to take off the release tape from the back side that I've already put on, double stick with some liquid glue in case I don't get it on the first try, stand above my project, grab a hold of the corners, line everything up, and give it a good mash lightly handed down. And next is the card base. So if you've stuck with me for this long, I really appreciate you watching the entirety of my video. If you're new here, welcome, welcome. I hope you stick around and subscribe. And if you're a regular here, I do appreciate every one of you. And you know, I'm grateful for you. Here's my finished project. I really hope that you enjoyed today's simple card and my rambling while I color in pencil crayon colored pencil. And as always, thanks for hanging out with me today. Take care.